Hello, everyone. It's so exciting to be here. I am honored and humbled. Last year, I won the Community Service Award for our Grants Pass Rotarian Club. Do we have any Oregonians here? Yes. I also got the honorary Paul Harris Fellow, which was such an honor for me, from Phoenix. Where's our Arizona people? Yes. Rotary, you guys do such amazing work. It's really my privilege to be here with you today. You know, usually when I tell people that I'm a survivor of human trafficking, they say, oh, like the movie Taken? And I think, well, kind of, except I wasn't pulled out by one leg while gripping at the carpet. My dad didn't have a special set of skills to come find me. Definitely was not sold for $1 million on a yacht. So no, not really like Taken at all. But it's interesting because we all do that, victims included. We envision human trafficking in this little box because of that one movie that we saw that one time. But as survivors, we grew up in the same culture as all of you, so we envision it the same way also. What happens in Nigeria looks very different than it does in Cambodia, than it does in New York City, than it does here in Atlanta. According to a recent study by Polaris Project, there are actually 25 different typologies of exploitation in America alone. So if we're all only thinking of that one way, we're going to miss dozens of other ways that it looks in our very own communities. I grew up in a small lumber town in Southern Oregon. I was an average all-American girl who had never been put in an at-risk youth category. I played varsity sports, I was on the honor roll, and I graduated a year early, accepted into Oregon State University. The summer after graduation, I got pregnant, and I had to withdraw from my dorm room, and I stayed at home with my parents and had my daughter. But I kept moving forward. I enrolled in community college as a single mom, and after all of my friends who had gone off to the U of O, now the duck people can cheer, when all of my friends who had gone off to the U of O moved out of their dorm rooms, they invited me and my daughter to move in with them. I was really excited to get out of my small town. I realized very quickly, though, that the vulnerabilities that I had growing up, even in a good home, were still there. My parents divorced when I was young, and it was an ugly divorce. My mom became a single mom, but by high school, things had started to turn around for me. When I went off to college and moved in with my friends, those same vulnerabilities resurfaced. And while all my friends were off doing what college kids do, I was the girl stuck at home with the kid. Until I met the most amazing man. He was funny and charming, and for 6 months he dated me. He got to know my hopes and my dreams and my fears. He slowly pushed the boundaries of hypersexuality in my life. And after 6 months, he invited us to move in with him. See, trafficking is not always abductions. It's a slow, gradual expansion of boundaries and an increase of trust. The day that me and my daughter arrived in Las Vegas, which is where he moved us to, the day that we arrived, he forced me into human trafficking. For nearly 6 years, I was sold between 3 different traffickers. I had 3 other women that were in the home with us and 2 children. During those nearly 6 years, I was branded twice, having 2 different men tattoo their names on my back like a piece of cattle. My face had been broken in 5 places. I was hospitalized for dehydration and overexhaustion, and I had been to jail 7 times. But I was never kidnapped or duct taped or locked in a room with a dirty mattress. The reality is that my daughter may have gone to school with yours, that I may have stood next to you in the grocery store line, and nobody ever noticed. Nobody ever noticed because we all envision that one way. And trafficking survivors included. I went through the thought of, I got on the plane willingly. I got out of the car willingly. I didn't fully understand the complexities of force, fraud, and coercion played out in my everyday life. Thankfully, in 2007, the federal investigators raided the home and allowed me and my daughter an eventual avenue for escape. But I can tell you that running was not the hard part. The hard part was choosing poverty. The hard part was starting over at 26 with an 8-year-old girl being homeless. The hard part was having a criminal record. a huge gap in job history, and more trauma than any person should live with. The hard part was what now? I escaped, yes, but now the journey began on figuring out how to navigate this new world of normalcy with the same vulnerabilities that got me trafficked in the first place. And I know this is what this panel's about, and this is what today is about for us, is that there are many facets to fighting the largest social justice issue of our time. There's prevention and intervention for vulnerable kids that can lead to their escape. It's about awareness in our different communities so we can shift the perception of what trafficking looks like in your town. It's training for those who have the opportunity to intercept and intervene with victims that are being trafficked. But it's also about restoration, trauma-informed care, policies, job opportunities that communities can provide. It's about advocacy and long-term support for us and our families. It's all of us here today coming together, using our influence, our passion, and our professions to truly make a difference in the lives of those in slavery across the world. Thank you.